Mike Pachelli here. For this lesson, I'll be talking about the Beatles recording of I Call Your Name that they did on March 1st, 1964. It's one of the first songs John Lennon ever tried to write. He was trying to write a blues song back in 1957. He got most of it done. And he was writing it on his very first guitar, his Galatone Champion 3/4 scale flat top acoustic. But it wasn't until 1963 that John and Paul got together and finished the song, did the middle eight. And then they gave it to Billy J. Kramer and the Dakotas to record, and Billy J. did it on June 27th, 1963. It ended up being the B-side of a 45 of Billy J.'s, and the A-side of that record was Bad to Me, which is another song written by John and Paul. But if you listen to Billy J.'s version of it, it's a hot mess. It's just corny as can be, which is more proof that the Beatles could take a song and do it like no other group of the time. And about the song, John has said, "That was my song when there was no Beatles and no group. I just had it around. It was my effort as a kind of blues originally. And then I wrote the middle eight just to stick it in the album when it came out years later. The first part had been written before Hamburg even. It was one of my first attempts at a song." And of course, Paul chimes in with this. "We worked on it together, but it was John's idea. When I look back at some of these lyrics, I think, wait a minute, what did he mean? I call your name, but you're not there. Is it his mother? His father? I must admit, I didn't really see that as we wrote it because we were just a couple of young guys writing." So early in 1964, John and Paul reworked the song because they wanted to be used in the Hard Day's Night film and album. But it's been said that the film's director, Richard Lester, didn't want to include it because he thought it was too similar to the song You Can't Do That because of the prominent cowbell in both songs. Anyhow, the Beatles are at EMI Studio 2 on March 1st, 1964, and it's the last day for recording the first batch of songs for the Hard Day's Night movie. And they start I Call Your Name around noon. They do 7 takes with the usual lineup: John and George on guitar, Paul on bass, and Ringo on drums, with John singing live. And take 7 is the keeper. Then they do overdubs. John double-tracked his lead vocal, and Ringo added a cowbell. It was mixed on March 4th, 64, and they took George's solo from take 5 and edited it onto the rhythm track of take 7. There's actually 4 different mixes of I Call Your Name. I'm pretty much dealing with the mono mix, but if you listen to different mixes available, you could hear that sometimes there's no cowbell at the intro, and then there is on other ones, and there's a couple little differences in them. The Beatles did record it again on March 31st at the Playhouse Theatre in London for BBC's Saturday Club, and they never performed I Call Your Name live. It was released in the US on April 10th, 1964 on the Beatles' second album, and in the UK on the Long Tall Sally EP on June 19th, 1964. So that's the backstory. Let's get started. John Lennon is playing his Rickenbacker 325 on I Call Your Name, which is a short scale, so if you've got small hands, it's a good fit for you. I've got mine going through a 1964 AC30. To play the verse, you'll need these chords. You'll need an F sharp 7th. You're going to need a B7 up here. You'll also need it down here. You're going to need 2 different E7s, one up here, and a first position here. You'll also need a regular E for a beat and a half. You're going to need a C sharp 7. You'll need an A and an A minor. And those are the chords for the verse. Now, he anticipates a lot of the chords, which means he plays a lot of them on the and of 4 going into the next measure. Sometimes he slides into one, and sometimes he just hits the new chord that should appear on beat 1 on the and of 4. That sounds confusing probably, so I'll just show you. On the intro, he slides into the F sharp 7 from F7. So on the and of 4, 3, 4. Slides up to the B7. Then he hits this E7 on the and of 4. And he hits the B7 on the and of 4. So again, it sounds like this. 3, 4. Then he slides in for the first verse to the E7, like that, from basically E flat 7. He hits the full C sharp 7 on the end of 4. To the F sharp. The B7 down here. Verse 2, E7. F sharp 7. 1. So let me play I'll play all that nice and slow so you have it in sequence. So here's the intro and the first 2 verses. 2, 3, 4. Charts and tabs are available at MikePachelli.com, which will probably make it a lot clearer than what I just showed you. Then on the bridge, a couple new chords. You'll need this A7 here. You'll need a C sharp minor. And it's back to F sharp 7. Then you'll need this C7 right here. And the B7. So it's pretty straight rocking on the A7 with, again, getting to the chords on the end of 4. So if you play on the bridge 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now on this C sharp minor, he does something very cool. He kind of picks up his hand on the end of 2 of the C sharp minor. So it's like. See, that's like. So you play the chord on 1 and 2, but then on the end of 2, kind of just lift it up and kind of, ghost the chord. So on the C sharp minor, it's like this. Then to F sharp 7. Then he's actually sliding into the C7. And the B7 is on 1. So let me play the bridge for you, relatively slow. 3, 4. So on verse 3, he's back to a first position E7, and he starts on B2, and he plays like this. 1. Okay? Again, charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com. You can take a look at it and understand it probably easier than what I'm showing you. And on the solo, it's kind of like they claim it's like a ska feel. It's really just, John is really the only one changing. Paul a little bit on the bass, but John plays on all the upbeats. So he plays regular chords, but always on the upbeat. It's probably strummed up. So like from the E7, 2, 3, 4, 1. Only plays 3 of them on that last measure because he's getting ready back onto bridge 2 to rock out, and bridge 2 is like this. And it ends on verse 4, up here to the original E7, up here. 1. And that's what he does for the fade. Just continues that same thing from E to just A, not A minor this time. So E is a. So no A minor on the end there. Again, charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com. You can download it and see it exactly, but that's what John played on I Call Your Name. George Harrison is playing his Rickenbacker 360-12 on I Call Your Name. This is a Harley Benton, and I'm still going through my Vox AC30. We got to keep in mind that sometimes George is hearing these songs for the very first time in the studio. I'm not sure if it's the case with this one, but he does come up with some great parts. So at the very intro, this is George's intro part. He plays 1. So George Harrison, isn't it? Then on the verse, he's just basically, playing notes in the chords. He makes a few mistakes, which I'll point out, but on verse 1, he plays this very slowly. He goes. Then he's into verse 2. On verse 2, it's this. Now right here is an F sharp chord, but George hits an A, which has nothing to do with that F sharp 7th. Then he catches up on the second beat and plays the dominant 7th of the F sharp 7, which is an E, and then an F sharp chord. And then here comes the A part, so he's playing on A and A minor. He goes. So let me play you the intro and the verse so you have it in continuity. Sounds like this. 1. On the first bridge, he plays, typical rock and roll lines that he played on many songs, with root sliding into the 3rd and grabbing the 5th. Sounds like this, very slowly. 3, 4. Notice how he plays that lick backwards. Then here comes an F sharp 7th, but this time he plays an open D note, which has nothing to do with F sharp 7th, but he catches up on the 4th beat and plays. And then on the C 7th, he plays a line like this. 1. And on the B7. So I'll play that in time. So the bridge, 2, 3, 4. Okay, continuing with simple single note lines on verse 3, it's like this. He does remember it's an F sharp here, and he plays on B2, 1. Plays in a little A minor. And then he's ready for his solo. For the solo, he just does a lot of pentatonic stuff in E. Basically, the root, E, the third, G, the fourth, A, and the fifth, B. He starts on the end of 1, and he plays this. He goes 1. Nice how he gets the root and third there. And then he grabs the fifth up here on the 7th fret. To C sharp, sliding into the 3rd and 5th of C sharp 7th. Down to the dominant 9th. Then it goes F sharp 7th. And on the last E7 he plays, I'm sorry. So up to speed, or close to speed, would sound like this. 3, 4, 1. Bridge 2, more of that rock and roll stuff like this. 3, 4, 1. It starts on 1. 3, 4. That C line a little bit behind the beat, and then the B more on the beat. And into verse 4, sounds like this. 3, 4. Gets a little like, you can't do that, where he slides into the 3rd of the F sharp. 1 to an A. Now here's an A7, but again he hits a D. But then on the fade out, where's page 4? Oh, here's page 4. On the fade out he hits the regular A. So on the regular fade out it's it. All right. So let me see. Let me do verse 4 and out for you. Okay, so verse 4 is like this. 3, 4. And then regular. And then the last thing he does is a little octave thing. It's on the next measure. He starts on the, end of 3. 1, 2, 3. So an E to a B to a C sharp. 1, 2, 3. In octaves. 2, 3. Again, charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com will make it a whole lot clearer. But I have put it together in a sound alike so you can see how every guitar part fits together. So have a look at this, please. Well, there you have it. Two simple guitar parts that work together perfectly to make such a nice little rocker. I suggest you download the charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com, learn both parts, play along with my sound alike, and you'll get it just like the Beatles. And I appreciate your consideration in supporting my work that way. So have fun playing this great little rocker, and until next time, I'm Mike Pachelli. Thanks for hanging out with me.